for the purposes of the study, the term unstructured data really referred to data in the format of files or documents or presentations, spreadsheets, web pages, emails, all those kind of things. Some people will inevitably ask, don't those formats have structure? And the answer is yes, they do. But the conventional use of the term unstructured data here is what we used in the study. And it just occurred to me in the report, and so I put it here a little bit, that one of the issues with unstructured data, why it is such a challenge to share it as well as manage it at the same time, is that it can be so easily replicated, and you can make infinitely many perfect copies of unstructured data. And because of that, it can travel pretty fast and far throughout the organization, and even more important these days through the extended organization, partners, customers, affiliations that we have. And even if the end users are aware of the policies regarding its use, which is something we find actually in the study that a lot of companies don't invest in training in that area, even if they are aware, a lot of end users will disregard those policies from time to time as they just try to carry out their job. And so in spite of all the efforts to store it and manage it centrally, the fact is once it gets loose, it can become uncontrollable, and it finds its way into all these nooks and crannies of the extended organization. It can be pretty difficult to see, let alone protect and manage. And it just reminded me of some childhood experiences of breaking those old style liquid mercury thermometers, and that mercury would roll around and break into just infinitely many tiny copies there. That's why the little photo there is reminiscent of that at the bottom. So that's kind of the nature of the problem. When we did the study, we asked questions about what kinds of unstructured data were out there. And in this study of 160-plus organizations, the respondents estimated that about 40% of their sensitive data was in the unstructured format. Now, more of their overall data is in that format, but the question was of your sensitive data, about what percent do you estimate is in the unstructured format? It's about 40%. And that tied off pretty well with a study we did on structured data security, protecting the database back in November, where it was about 62% of sensitive data was estimated to be, back there in the back end in a structured format. So that, it's always nice when the research dies off in that way. And of course, it's no surprise that Adobe and Microsoft formats were, near the top of the list in terms of what kind of unstructured data there were. But there's a lot of growth coming in these multimedia web formats, audio files, video files, still images, and so on. So no question, I think, at all that there's lots and lots of unstructured data out there. And again, just sharing with you some of the findings from this particular study. I'm trying to combine a couple of things on a single chart here. The bars, the solid yellow bars there, represent the net number of companies responding that it increased, stayed the same, or decreased. So if you take a number like this, 40%, that's the net of those who said it went up or stayed the same or went down. So a net 40% of all the companies said that the number of employees with access to unstructured data went up on a year-over-year basis. 31% of all companies responded that temporary employees or contractors that had access to unstructured data went up on a year-over-year basis, and so on. You can read for yourself. And then the line here on the same chart is really the other axis. It's the actual year-over-year change. So how much did it change? About by 7%. How much did temporary employees and contractors grow by? It's about 4%. So the access to unstructured data is expanding, as well as the volume of unstructured data. And again, I'm just trying to give some statistics to the depth of the problem that I think we all understand intuitively. So what did we see? Some of the fast facts here from the study. Almost all respondents indicated that they had a year-over-year increase in the volume of unstructured data that's being generated throughout their enterprise. About half of them were actually seeing a year-over-year increase in the number of collaboration sites or portals that are hosting this unstructured data. The biggest example, probably the poster child, would be Microsoft SharePoint. Very easy to stand up, very popular to stand up, and convenient for end users and departments and so on, work groups to share this exact kind of data. And interesting that the question that we asked about how long you've had an initiative to protect and manage your unstructured data is we can see that the companies who have been at it longer are the ones who have also had the best results. Now, I haven't defined these terms just yet, but I'm going to do that next. Basically, the point here, though, is that the longer you've been at it, the more likely you are to have some success. So